But Arsenal, start with in alphabetical. Arsenal, Mikel Arteta finished second last season to Man City.
He did.
Another good season. They've signed Ricardo Calafiori, defender.
Has he signed now, has he?
I think there was certainly strong rumours.
The fee's been agreed, 42 million with Bologna. I think it's just...
I haven't seen the
dot on the i's, crossing the t's. So David Raya come in permanent.
Yep.
How do you think Arsenal are going to get on?
Yeah, I mean, David Raya coming in permanently was a no-brainer. I think he had a cracking season for them last year, so I think that was a done deal pretty early on. Obviously, strengthening the defence is good. They were pretty solid last year. I thought they were a really good team last year. I thought they had a really good season. You know, anybody who can push that Man City team that close is pretty decent. And I would say they've got a very, very good chance of winning the Premier League this season.
Third time lucky?
Well, you know, they look to me like they're improving a little bit each season. And also, you know, Man City have won it 4 times in a row. What's their motivation going to be?
Yeah.
That's also another... I mean, it's amazing what they've done. Nobody had ever done 4 in a row before, you know, and that is pretty spectacular. So, you know, you kind of question their motivation, but they've done it 4 times in a row. Why wouldn't they want to do it 5?
Do you think Arsenal are light on maybe a striking position, goals?
That's the one... I think that's the one key area where, you know, if they had...
Ivan Toney, maybe.
I mean, if you put it this way, if you stuck Erling Haaland in Arsenal's team, Arsenal would win the Premier League.
Yeah, right. Yeah, fair point.
They're solid.
I think so.
Defensively, they're so solid.
Yeah.
They're looking great now. Last season proved that. If they can do that again, add a striker, yeah, I think they could win.
I think they've got a very, very good chance of winning the Premier League, yeah. But again, if they don't bring in that striker and they come up just short again, then they'll be looking at the manager and going, hang on a minute, surely it was fairly obvious last season what we needed.
Yeah.
Why haven't you sorted that out?
So you saying top 2 finish? Maybe
I think
champions?
So.
Okay.
I think good chance of being champions.
Okay.
I'd like a different name at the top.
Just for that,
4 years in a row is getting a bit boring now. Come on.
It's Pep
come
last
on.
year, mate,
I mean, I was a Spurs fan as a kid, but I'm going, come on, Arsenal, knock Man City off the perch. They've had enough now.
Yeah.
It's been good while it lasted.
On to Chelsea. Pochettino probably unlucky to lose his job at the end of last season. They've brought in Enzo Maresca from Leicester, and they made a few signings. Kieran Dewsbury-Hall is probably the standout one. And they've also got the Conference League to play for this season. What do you think Chelsea's hopes are this season, and where can they finish?
Well, I think they're realistic ambitions that they'll want to get back in the top 4. You know, that's where they'd kind of been, the table they'd been sitting at for quite a few years, and so that's where the ambitions of the club are. That, you know, we know they've got very wealthy owners who that's what they want at the football club. So yeah, I think Pochettino is probably a little bit harsh. You know, it does frustrate me sometimes, football clubs, when they just don't give managers enough time to build things. You know, you could actually see at the back end of last season Chelsea kind of getting better and better towards the end.
They only finished 5 points off the Champions League space. So
yeah, which was incredible because they were like bottom half of the table at one point in this year, I think it was. So the finish was strong. So I was surprised to see Pochettino go. Reska obviously did a very good job with Leicester last season, you know, and brought with him one of his best players as well.
Yeah.
You know, which often happens when managers go to a new club. So yeah, I could see Chelsea kind of challenging around. I think perhaps challenging for top 4, but maybe finishing just outside.
On to Liverpool now then. The Klopp reign has come to an end. Arne Slot has come in. They've finished on 82 points last season, third, 9 points off the top. Mo Salah, 18 goals, top goal scorer. It seems deadly quiet on the signings at the minute.
It does, yeah, really quiet. I've been surprised. You know, when a new manager comes into a big club like that, normally he'd have some pretty big ideas about who he wants to bring in, and yet it's been very, very slow at Liverpool this season so far. So I don't know. I mean, 82 points I thought last season was, you know, a pretty decent return. You know, that's won the Premier League some years, 82 points. But obviously with the fact that Arsenal and Man City were so consistent meant that third place was kind of the best they were going to do. Mo Salah, is he past his best? He looked a little bit past his best last season. You know, he was still nicking goals and still a threat. Don't get me wrong, but not to the level that he kind of has been. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they cashed in on him.
Yeah, he's past his peak, and I think the problem they had was Darwin Núñez. He missed a ton of gilt-edge opportunities, and you just think if there was a more sharper striker, they would have maybe even clinched the Premier League. But that Núñez. But Diaz had a good Copa America, and they've got Jota to come in as well.
Yeah,
so
I mean they've
still a good squad there.
Yeah, they've still got some very, very good players. I mean they'll score goals.
Yeah.
They will score goals. I can't imagine Darwin Núñez will miss as many chances this season.
Mr. Woodwork last season, wasn't he?
Wasn't he just
4 in one game, I think, wasn't it?
That would have been that would have been frustrating for him. But like we said with Mateta, you know, if he can just get a little run going, I think you'll see a very different player. I can see in him the potential to get 10 in 10. You know, I couldn't see it in Mateta, and he did it. So, but in Núñez, I think you could. But yeah, I think Liverpool will obviously be up there challenging. Yeah, okay. I like Arne Slot. I watched his team a little bit when I was covering the Dutch league a couple of years ago. Play some good football. So I expect to see some pretty entertaining football from Liverpool this season again.
Okay, and Mo Salah's trying to dispel that myth. I think as he passed it with his ex-posts. I mean, he looks in absolute ridiculous shape.
Yeah.
So yeah, be interesting. Yeah. Man City won the league with 91 points last year. Could be Klopp's last year. Officially it is, but he might.
Peps.
Sorry.
Peps already had Klopp's last year.
Yeah, it was Klopp's last year, yeah. Could be Pep's last year, but there's rumours he might sign an extended contract.
Okay.
Rumours of Edison maybe going, KDB. What do you think?
It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, Pep's been at that club a long time now, and he doesn't normally do that. They've also got, obviously, the charges hanging over them. I'm not sure he'd probably want to be around when that kind of kicks in finally. I think he'd want to distance himself from that a little bit. So, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if it was Pep's last season. I'd hate to see Kevin De Bruyne leave the Premier League. I love watching him play. Been a massive fan of his. And then, again, there's not been a lot of movement at Man City, which kind of quite telling, really, in terms of the financial aspect and perhaps how concerned they are with that side of things.
They sold a lot of their reserve players off for 20 million a pop, so they're getting a few quid in the bank.
Getting a few quid in to try and to try and sort it out.
There's only one, I think, notable signing, Savio, 33 million at the minute. So
It's right winger, isn't he?
Yeah.
So not a lot going on there, but they've got a phenomenal squad. So they'll be up there again. I expect.
Say first.
I don't really expect the top three to change from last season.
Yeah,
I don't see anybody who's done enough in the transfer market to think they could disrupt those top three.
But one team that wasn't saved by Man United's FA Cup win was Newcastle United. Kicked them out of the Conference League, so they've missed out on Europe. They had a decent season last year, finished 7th under Eddie Howe. And then again, they've been kind of the striker, Isaac. He had a fantastic season. What was it? 21 goals.
21 goals,
yeah.
And then they've made a few signings. How do you see Newcastle's season going? Do you think they can get back into those top 4 places?
I think without the Champions League football, I think they'll have a better chance of that. So I'd expect them to be higher up than 7th this season. Just the pure volume of games, the intensity of those Champions League games, I think does make it very difficult for clubs. So, and they've got a decent squad, like you say. Isaac was sensational last season. And I thought they'd do well to keep hold of him this summer, actually, because I thought a few of the big boys might come sniffing for him. But they've got a good squad, they've got a good manager, and I'd expect them to be challenging in and around those Champions League places again this